let's go to the phones here. This is Helen from Florida. Pronouns are she, her, and wants to talk about experiences with her recovering from religion.
All right, cool.
Hello, Helen.
Hi. I just thought I'd call in, talk to some wonderful sex positive people that I know. So I thought I'd call in and say hi.
No, glad to hear from you.
Helen, great to hear from you. Thanks for calling in. You want to talk about what's going on at Recovering from Religion?
Sure, absolutely. And I thought I would also kind of tie it into the topic you guys were talking about, too, because I can tell you, as someone that's a virtual support group leader, we've had these conversations about sexual shame and, like, feeling weird and dirty from wanting to watch porn or trying stuff different in the bedroom and stuff like that. Like, all that bullshit just gets into your brain because of what religion does to you. So as someone that, like, on the volunteer side that's very, like, sex positive and also went through all this bullshit of trying to work through my own sexual identity as a bi person and as a poly person, to get rid of all that stuff and to hear people kind of reflect the old me back, it's been really it's wonderful, but also sad at the same time that all the bullshit of the shame kind of is still coming out of people, of all the stuff that they've been taught within religion, So I definitely experienced that, doing the volunteer work that I've been doing with RFR.
We are in a big fundraiser right now, and Helen is the chairperson of our fundraising team. So that's part of the reason I wanted to come on tonight, to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, tell us about it. The work that y'all are doing, Helen, is incredibly important.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I am doing the promotional work for the fundraiser. Dr. Ray can talk more about that. And I also, but like most of the year, I'm not doing the promo work. I am a volunteer, and I really love the work that I do at RFR and being a part of such a wonderful community, not just the stuff that I do with the clients, but we have a wonderful group of volunteers that are wonderful, supportive people that I've formed really close friendships with. So, it's been an awesome experience all around. And so, if you got a few dollars to spend or a few $1,000s to spend and you want to give us money, give us money. We would appreciate it, because 100% of the proceeds go to RFR and all the wonderful work we do. So I'm going to do that plug. I'm going to shill for money.
No, I think one thing that to add to that, because I grew up in a religious environment, and certainly like, as much as I'd like to think so, I don't think I've gotten rid of every hang up that I've gotten from that upbringing and from being in that environment. But even now, not being religious anymore, but still being in a community where honestly the default setting is you probably go to some church or another. Like I'll go to a hockey game, and the people around me are all season ticket holders, so we see each other a lot. I'll go with my wife, and that's fine, but then I'll go with my girlfriend, and I'll feel a little awkward putting an arm around her or being affectionate with her, because these are people who, wait a second, they know that I just came here last week with my wife, and now they're seeing me being this publicly affectionate with someone else. So even if you are not in a religious structure, there are still effects that being in a religious community has on the way you conduct your relationships.
That's very true.
Yeah, I don't think that's... Yeah, because I can even say, like, I grew up Catholic, and letting go of that attitude that you're only supposed to be with, like, one person, and you're only supposed to show affection to that one person. And then, like, when you go out in public, even if no one knows that you're in a poly relationship, there is still that, resistance to, like, show affection and stuff like that, even though you probably, no one gives two shits about you, but that voice is still in your brain saying, like, this is different, you're not supposed to do this, which is just bullshit. But it's just that BS stuff that's just been taught to you.
No, and there's no question about it. I'll acknowledge here my own sort of internalized homophobia. And Puck, as you're giving your example, I'm thinking about how different I've been on dates with men or with women in terms of like what I sort of allow people to see and how I react to that. So it's incredible work that y'all are doing to help people acknowledge some of those things, to maybe better understand what's going on inside their own mind, and then to point them towards resources and different things that can help move them forward, help move them past some of those things.
We are our volunteers, of course, are not professionally trained therapists, but
Sure.
I will guarantee you there's a lot of therapy kind of going on just in the fact that people can talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's cathartic when you can call up or chat in and talk to Helen and find somebody that is not gonna respond negatively in any way. Going to be totally supportive of whatever you're going to tell us. We're going to try and be the best we can be to help you live the best life you can live. And that's the beauty of what Helen and all of our volunteers are doing. And she's right. We see all of this stuff. I dare say our volunteers see more religious sexual stuff, in a few months than some therapists will see in years.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
And this is why I love working with secular sexuality so much, because there are some people who are still at the point where they're having the conversation about whether God exists or not, and that's fine. Everybody's at a different place, but for me, it's so much more interesting to see where religious belief and intersects with everyday life. And the more I talk here and the more I listen and watch these shows, the more I realize the intersection's bigger than I think. Right? Like
Sure,
there are things that you can bring up that I couldn't even imagined. And so it's super useful to have shows like this where we talk about as many of these issues as we can.
Yeah.
So thank you for being out there, Helen, and having these conversations.
Helen, is there any specific?
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, without naming names, which we wouldn't know anyway with our clients, but is there anything that stands out for you with maybe somebody you've talked to as a client? Related to this topic of porn addiction or sex addiction or anything?
I haven't had this specific topic, but I've had people express like, I had someone that is still working out, like coming out of the closet, and they're getting used to, embracing the fact that they're gay, even though, and trying to put themselves out there and trying to embrace their sexuality, even though they know they're going to get pushback from their family, and that is just another example where they're trying to navigate it in a very positive way. How do I be myself and find the balance and stuff like that? And I've just been an encouragement voice and saying that you have to find what works for you and stuff like that. But I think that's another message that we kind of try to bring as like sex positive people about, like, this isn't, like, you have to navigate your own way of how this is going to work. And that if you think you're watching too much porn, even though, or you want to try something that feels dirty or shamed or anything like that, that's another thing you have to figure out how you're going to navigate what is healthy for you, and let go of what everybody else is telling you and saying, like, is this disrupting my life? How is this going to affect my life? What is it going to do to my other relationships? And all those are things, like, those are the questions that we want people to ask themselves. How am I going to process my way through this? And that's one thing that kind of sticks out as I've been talking to this person to go, what is the outcome? How is this going to affect your life? And work them through it, because they already know the answers. They just need to be asked the right questions.
Helen, one thing we've heard, and I think, Helen, you've actually seen this yourself, but I know I have, and that is people who call into us and say, I've left religion. I was a porn addict before when I was still, or I was a sex addict when I was still religious. Once I got out of religion, I, quote, got control of it. Now I don't have a problem anymore. And that's a pretty clear sign that the guilt and shame had something to do with that behavior. You've seen that, haven't you?
Exactly. Yes, I have heard that.
Yeah. I've heard it so many times over the years. It's not funny, which tells me that porn and sex addiction are a religious construct most of the time. Porn and sex addiction are not a psychological construct.
I agree. I agree. Because like as soon as you let go of all the shame, as soon as you let go of like this idea that sex is bad and dirty, that once that stuff gets let go, you kind of be able to find that equilibrium, where and then like, if you want to watch porn to masturbate, you can watch porn to masturbate. It's no big deal. Or I can talk to myself like I've watched porn when I'm bored. I'm not even turned on. I'm just bored. And you find a way to incorporate it into your life. And also you can incorporate it into your life with your partner or partners. And it's fine. It's okay, because all that bullshit that religion was teaching you has been let go.
Good.
Well, Helen, thank you very much for calling.
I was just calling in to say hi.
No, we very much
thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Letting us know about the fundraiser. And you're right. Like all of the points that Helen has been hitting tonight are exactly the things that I see over and over in a therapy office, but it may be kind of stretched out. The quickness with which those volunteers are able to have those types of conversations is pretty remarkable.
Thank you very much, Helen. Have a good night.
Good night, Helen.
Thank you very much, guys.